The video we're about to watch was filmed over half a century ago in 1972. Before we get into that, to help you understand the importance and criticality of this message, I want to tell you about the nuclear clock. The nuclear clock was designed by a group of scientists from the Manhattan Project after they'd developed the atomic bomb and realized the kind of implications that this technology would have across the world. The clock was a metaphor. It represented how close humanity was to a global catastrophe, specifically a nuclear exchange. When the clock was created in 1947, it was set at 7 minutes to midnight, with midnight representing a global catastrophe. And over time, as tensions would rise and fall, the clock would be adjusted accordingly. Only 3 years later, after the Soviets tested their first atomic bomb, the clock jumped up to 3 minutes to midnight. And by 1972, when this video that we're about to watch was filmed, it was moved right back to 12 minutes to midnight after an anti-ballistic missile treaty was signed. 1991, after the Cold War had ended, it went to its lowest point ever of 17 minutes to midnight.
That confrontation is now over.
Since it was created 44 years before this point, for the most part, the clock had moved safely away from a global catastrophe. And then somehow, within 16 years, in 2007, the clock was changed to 5 minutes to midnight. Nuclear technology had begun to spread around the world. North Korea began testing weapons, and there were tensions that other nations had acquired them as well. It was at this point that they began to include the potential effects of climate change when setting the nuclear clock. And since this point, the clock has been moving to midnight at an alarming rate. In 2018, it went to 3 minutes to midnight, and now as we move into 2025 with more unrest around the world than ever before, the clock is now at 90 seconds to midnight. The power of AI is ineffable. And we live in an online world where this power exists. Nobody knows who to believe or what they can trust.
President Trump is a total and complete dipshit. They woke bitches.
Deepfake content, censored algorithms, all of these things have led us to a state of confusion and chaos. There's a housing crisis in most of the Western world. The dream of owning your own home and having a family is quickly fading away. In fact, if you're on a low to average income, it's pretty much already gone. This never used to be the case. And as the threat of a nuclear exchange looms, we are seeing these strange things in the sky that nobody can explain. The same things that followed pilots in World War II. The same things that hovered over Malmstrom Air Force Base in 1967 and completely shut down all 10 nuclear missiles that Captain Robert Salas was responsible for. Amongst this chaos, there's been a complete decay of faith, respect for one another, and respect for the place that we all live. And that's why this prophecy has become more relevant than ever before. And it shares a message that I think everybody needs to hear and understand before it's too late. There are some metaphors and symbols throughout this prophecy that you might not understand as he tells them. I'm going to do my best to clarify these and give you my interpretations of them as we go. So get ready to listen to a story that has been accurate from the beginning right up until today. This prophecy has been passed down through generations, hidden in the deserts of the American Southwest. The Hopi people have carried this prophecy for centuries, warning us of a time when technology would lead to the ultimate downfall of man. The Hopi Tribe, one of the oldest living cultures on Earth. Their history is not written in books, but etched into the land, told through songs, dances, and sacred stories. They believe in balance, respect for the earth, and the interconnectedness of all life. As these values decay from modern society, our connection with technology has replaced our connection with the earth. The Hopi believe that by continuing down this path, straying from core values, we will become the architects of our own destruction.
Stone tablets were given in the hands of two brothers who had same mother, but one of them had a very light complexion. And we refer to that young person or older brother, a white brother, because his skin is whiter than the other one, who has a color of Mother Earth. Our native people have that color that was to carry this knowledge, to take hold of it and keep it. So there was a separation made. The one with a lighter complexion, a white brother, was instructed to go east along the edges of land to another land, to take care of it and to use it and to develop things, to record things, to invent things, which he had done before. So that after he got so far, then he was to come back here to look for his younger brother who was left here to take care of this land in spiritual way with songs and prayer, ritual, fasting, meditation. He was to take care of this continent here in that fashion. So he invited brothers to come with his invention to help him. When they come together, the material and spiritual will join, and together they're supposed to take care of this land in a real good way, in accordance with the Great Spirit's instruction. But there is a danger, he said, because he gave us both sacred symbols, circle. There's no end to this circle, just like there's no end to this life if we follow that. So each one was receiving that same symbol. So a white brother went east, and then he came back. But if he started change that and bring another symbol, we know that he started changing things. He's going to do things in his own way. So those two symbols were known to us.
So in the beginning, there were two brothers, one with white skin and one with dark skin. The white-skinned brother was told to go east, to another land to invent, develop technology, record things, and bring their knowledge back. The dark-skinned brother was told to look after the land, maintain spiritual practices, prayer, dance, song, and together when the white brother returned, they would combine spirituality and materialism to become almighty rulers and protectors of the earth. But when the white brother came back, he was different, and he brought with him this symbol of a cross. Now it isn't explicitly said, but I interpret this as Christianity, or perhaps just religion as a whole. And from then on, the white brother began to do things his own way. Now I interpret this graph as a linear representation of time, and the first circle on this graph is when man first inhabited the earth. And if we look at that on a timeline, I believe the circle behind the cross is representation of the time before Christ, and the two circles above the cross and to the right represent a millennia. So from the cross to the first circle on the line, we have the year 0 to 1000 AD, and then between that circle and the next one are the years 1000 to 2000. It's also important to note that the line that these two circles sit on is the line of time that represents spirituality, and the line above that is materialism.
So that when he comes, we place everything on this life to follow. This represents village life, religious life, and everyday life of our people to follow. There was no road there yet. But later our white brother came, and he did bring inventions, he said. Now I'm just going to go through this quickly as possible. The inventions he will bring, one of the elders who was the one that called this meeting was a Kachina society leader. He was about 80 or 90-year-old man, and he said, after others have told, 4 days, the end, he said, my grandfather used to tell me that I maybe get to see some of the inventions that our white brother will bring. When he comes, he's going to bring a carriage that will be pulled by animals, carrying people across our land. He said, I've seen that. That's the wagon, he said. Pretty soon that's going to run by itself, carrying people across our land. And he said, that's automobile. And then pretty soon there's going to be a road in every direction from our mesas. You can see all kind of trails every direction. They have no word for pavement. So he said, one of these days you go down one of those trails, you're going to see water in front of you. Because you know, in hot summer day, you actually see a mirage of water in front of you. That's the way they describe there'll be paved road all over the land. And pretty soon we're going to want to have those things also. So some of our people start to go that way because Great Spirit warned us not to go too far with that. We can have them, but not just let this go and go up that way. So he said when that happened, then there will be time someone invent something that we will be talking to each other through cobweb. And he shook his head and said, I don't understand what that meant. And then some young fellow told him that that's a telephone line. You know, you look up in the sky, it looks like a cobweb up there. We're talking to each other. And pretty soon, there'll be a time we close everything in a room talking, doors and windows. But way over the mountain someplace, somewhere be hearing us talking. And I can't understand that, he said. Then again, this one fellow told him that must be radio or TV. And then these period inventions will show where we are in this life as we go along. Then he said there'll be road in the sky, and he shook his head. He said, I don't see how anybody could build a road way up in the sky where people will be traveling. But they found out that it was airplane that be having a road up there, carrying people up there. So then he said, when that is fulfilled, there can be trouble on this earth, because man has gone too far going that way. They're going to start fighting one another. They're going to be quarreling. They're going to be trouble all over. Young people will not respect for the elders, or elders will just neglect their children and go all out for this and that. They're just not going to have any more respect of things around nature that's provided, because we want to have those things. And there's going to be like that, and pretty soon one of these that has been commissioned by the Great Spirit over here will rise up and shake the world's real heart. A warning to us. Now you people are not following the instructions that the Great Spirit told you to follow. And this is what's going to happen. Many life and property will be destroyed. There'll be world-shaking events take place. Then it stopped for a while. Then we go on. Then another came along, more advanced things will be invented. This time they said they're going to start messing around with the moon and stars. And they must know that someday somebody's going to get to the moon. They said that if you ever get to the moon, don't bring anything down from the earth, from the moon down to earth. Because once you do that, then you are interfering with the balance of the universe, nature, and everything going to be disrupted. And things happen on earth you cannot control. And even though you have all knowledge and scientific things, you can't. When earthquakes start shaking, you're going to be helpless. When a great wind becomes destructive, you're going to be helpless. This is what's going to happen here. We began to see many money system develop. We see the new gadgets of all kinds being developed. Then everybody wants to have a new car every year. We all work and strive, and we don't care how we get it, so we fight and we struggle and we do all that, and we forget the spiritual things. We forget ourselves, how we connected to plate, the grass, trees, animals, clouds. We forget all those things, and we struggle and trying to get all this. And this is the place where someone will invent what he termed gourd full of ashes.
He basically just summarized all the major problems with modern society. People seeking external validation instead of internal, materialism, chasing the next thing, a new car, the best watch, and this rat race will perpetuate the chaos, trying to fulfill our happiness with all of these external things without ever looking inside. People are going to begin messing around on the moon and the stars, roads in the sky. This is when the chaos will begin. Things will begin to happen on Earth that you can't control. With all your technology, you'll be helpless. And that's when we'll begin to invent the gourd of ashes, or the atomic bomb. And this is the part that really freaked me out.
It's going to be, he went like that, and it's going to be so small, but it's going to be so powerful that if ever anytime mankind ever allowed that to fall on the earth someplace, it is going to be so hot that it's going to boil oceans, rivers, it's going to burn everything to ashes. And he described what will happen when that ever took place. Out of it, much sickness and things will develop that man will not be able to cure some of those things. That is going to happen here, between these two. Then there will be also another world-shaking events take place, that another one stands up and says, now you people are not following the instructions, you're going too far away, start destroying things. So they warn us again, but this time, this third one's coming up with much greater. This time there'll be someone's going to start farther away messing around with moon and stars. And the last thing he would invent would be a huge house that would be floating way up in the sky someplace, carrying people and things. When that is fulfilled, this old man said, then you better start learning how to live on this earth, how to survive, because the earthquake might hit certain areas very strong someday, knock everything down. Or there may be a severe famine come along, or a flood, or storm, lightning. Everything starts hitting us very strongly because nature's going to be acting very strongly here.
When this gourd of ashes is unleashed on the world, there will be a third event, another one that's going to come that's much greater. And despite all the warnings, man will continue to develop, and after messing around in the moon and the stars, the final invention will be a house that sits up in the sky. And when this happens, you better learn to live on the earth. There will be floods, there will be earthquakes, famines, total cleansing of the earth, removing all of those who are responsible for destroying it.
By that time, one of our own native people will join them to others and tell their own people, forget your language, forget your ways, forget your song, you come and follow us. Look, we got money, we got all this material gain, all these things, and new TV, new cars, new this and that. So just forget about it, come this way. And they will also try to influence many of our own people to go that way. But then they will advance in scientific things, inventions, but they're going to destroy themselves with what they invented if they're not careful. So now we're right in the spirit, they say. We are either go all out for this kind of thing and destroy ourselves, or come back, search our spiritual instructions, search ourselves within us, something that should link us together. Because now we know that we are all alive, we are all linked together. Talk about God, talk about Great Spirit, but no one really see Him yet. But we know there's something that keeps us alive. And that's why we call it Great Spirit, the Spirit within us, linked together with you and grass and animal, bird, everything. It's this air that we're all breathing right now. We're all linked together with that. So we are alive. We are living with this grass, animal, bird, everything. We are all together because we are breathing. Now, if we pollute this air too much, then we're also destroying ourselves with what we invented. Because they said we may come to that this spirit, when the sun will rise, is blood red someday, sets blood red someday. I've not seen that. It's already polluted so much in the east and west coast that when the sun comes out, you're going to see it real bright red coming out. Sun, blood red. So this is what they said. The second one will shake us up real hard. Now we are coming to this last one.
Now remember, this video was filmed in 1972, and in the video he's saying we are here, we are at a fork in the road, where we either continue on this path of self-destruction, or we search within us and we find something that connects us all back together. People need to look and try and find their spirit. He's essentially giving his own interpretation of God. Whatever the power is, whatever your religion is, the creator, that's what he's referring to. And it's something that's been lost in all of us.
We say it is a purification of this continent here, because this is where the Hopi say that within this spiritual center, which would cover all this four-corner state area, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah. For some reason, I don't know whether the United States government knows this or not, but they make that states come together in that very area where we refer to as sacred area. Now we have that drawing on a shield, the Kachina, whichever picked that up, they were to protect that areas with every way they can, because that is the very heart of our Mother Earth, the spirit of our people, planted in there, and we must not disturb it in any way. We can go all around it, but if we go too far in this, then we destroy a lot of things in ourselves also.
Arizona, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico. These four states meet at a central point, which is considered the sacred heart of the land, a place where the seed of our spirit is buried. The land there is sacred and holy, and that if it is disturbed, it will lead to destruction within humanity itself. After I heard this, it immediately clicked in my mind just how many strange things happen in this area. The big one that jumped out at me straight away is Skinwalker Ranch, and I know this is a place specifically that Native Americans do not like to talk about. This place is a paranormal hotspot, but that's not all. Of course, we've got the famous Roswell case in New Mexico, the Lonnie Zamora UFO encounter, the Phoenix Lights of Arizona, All of these well-documented encounters with UFOs or extraterrestrials have happened within this sacred space. And again, it's very well documented how interested the alien and UFO phenomenon seems to be with nuclear weapons, likely because they know it's going to lead to our ultimate destruction. And let's not forget what else is there, Area 51. I think there's a lot more to the story when it comes to this part of America.
The time where we're facing, according to Hopi, that we are now coming, a lot of us are going up to a material path. We just forgetting the spiritual thing. We disturb nature so much. They're fighting and warring and they're quarreling and people with the same language. And they were testing out a lot of things in our own way because we got so smart, intelligent now. Now we're going to be start making people ourselves now. Found in record there are some people now trying to make people in test tubes. And they're eating pills now. I think we're going to better ourselves. All those things are going to take place at this time. It's known to the Hope. And then also, the life would be down to a level that was just before the other destruction came. There'll be restlessness all over. There'll be people here and there running here and there because we can get to here and there real fast now. And we just won't sit still anymore. We want to jump, we want to do a lot of things, unnecessary things, because we have all these things in our hand now. Then we're going to have power in our hand that eventually, if we misuse it or do it in a wrong manner or accidentally let go of it, then everything will go down or destroyed, because this is what it meant. So.
And as we approach the end of this path of self-destruction, there will be constant warring, fighting. Technology will be so crazy that we're making people in test tubes. Restlessness everywhere, people trying to do crazy and unnecessary things just because there's so much power in their hands. And eventually they're going to use it the wrong way. The way he holds out his hands when he says power in their hands, it really feels like a physical thing. And it makes me think of our smartphones, how addicted to them we are, how when you're on a bus or a train, no one talks to each other, everyone's head is just in their phone. Technology has undoubtedly destroyed the human connection.
So we are now coming back to our white brothers with this message, with this knowledge, because we are facing this last day of purification. We know that something has gone wrong, so that all across the land, our people are starting destroying our native people's land and life and religion. Now that's coming to this period which prophesied it would be the last place. Whether the white brother realize it someday and start correcting and stopping and changing something, because sooner or later Purifiers is going to come and bring about full cleansing of this earth, because if you can't do it, even if you talk about religious, good moral principles, good government or principles, yet you can't stop these things, then these purifiers will have to do it with power and might, because Great Spirit gave them all the power to develop. Now, then whoever comes out, he will meet the Great Spirit again, because here I found in Bible and other said that I'm the first here. I have taken care of this land, I'll let you take care of it. I give instruction, I go away for a while, I let you go on your way. Now, if some of you may follow it, some of you may turn away, but after this purification, whoever comes out, then I'll come and meet him again, and this time this will be a long life again, renewing everything. All living people, no matter what race, will come together as one people, like it was start from. There will be no more fighting over religion or land will be open, so that you will live out there without money system. You will not be required to pay taxes. You cannot grab everything by somebody. Like now, you have certain area for yourself and to let everybody stay away. We deny one another everything. And we be like fruit trees out there, produce things, because each one of us has a gift to give freely. Now, after this purification, if I invent something, you can take it and use it. And if you invent something, I can take it. I don't have to struggle to pay to get it. It'll be free. So that's the way it's going to be from there on. and they may even speak one language again. But whose language is a question there. Is that because after the Great Spirit is with us, there will be a new life laid out by the Purifiers will cleanse this land, and whoever stood fast with it, even if there be one person remain up to this point, with that person's faith and courage, or those that come to help him to keep it, that many people will be saved to come out and meet the Great Spirit. So this Great Spirit, Purifier, and the ones that kept the faith will lay out a new plan for all the rest of the people that survive. From there on, there'll be a peace, real peace from there on.
He says, despite having all of these great governments and religions, you're still destroying the earth. Now, I'm not sure about 1972, but these days, good governments, it's a bit questionable. He says if you can't stop these things, then the purifiers will be instructed to come and purify the land. After this age of purification, it's said that we will all come together as one. No more division, no more social constructs like race and religion dividing us. We will come together as one, as humans. And whatever I invent, you can have, and whatever you invent, I can use. There will be no rat race, no 9-to-5s, no spending 70% of your life at a job you don't even like, no financial systems, no social ladders. And after this purification, the Spirit, the Purifiers, and the people who remained faithful will be the ones who determine the new way of life. And finally, there will be peace on earth. But the big question is, who are these Purifiers? Who is going to come and purify this land?
One old man told me, take a look. Whoever has this symbol in this world going to shake us up 2 times. And it just came to me quickly, and I wondered, what nation ever shown something similar to this one? Because they will be very intelligent people. They're going to produce many inventions of all types. They're going to be so powerful that they're going to use that to shake us up real hard. And they're going to almost destroy themselves. But later, out of it, a new generation is going to rise. This time they will know what to do in the right manner, for the right purpose. Then around it, the sun symbol. Those people are very intelligent people that have that symbol. They have produced many things, invent many things. And they become powerful. And they also shake us up 2 times. Second time, with the help of another. These 2 have shook us up 2 times real hard, warning us. And they almost destroy themselves. But out of it, a new generation is coming, stronger, much better equipment, everything, powerful things going to be developed by these 2 people. Then the third one that will finally bring about purification of this land in this continent would be a man with red cap, red hat, or red cloak. Now, we do not know who that nation is or what people, but they say those people will have a large population, and they will also have much scientific inventions of all types. Very powerful nation going to be. So once you start moving, these others 2 will join him with all their power and might. The 3 of them are going to come here quickly together, and nothing can stop them. This time they're going to come right here. They say even they're going to come here so fast they come here for breakfast. Now this is nice clear day today, calm, everything, nice. Tomorrow morning maybe we get up at breakfast time, then the whole sky will be dark. Old man said, I don't know what will cause it darkening of the sky. Then he said people will be raining from the sky. And in one day, they're going to get control of this whole continent.
Now, there's a lot to break down there. A man who wears a red hat is going to come and purify the land, and he's going to have help from the people who bear this symbol. I mean, where do you begin with that? Remember, this is in 1972. Let's start with the obvious. A man in the red hat, who we all know as Donald Trump. the man who wants to drain the swamp. It all sounds way too similar. It doesn't take much to realize how much corruption and greed there is in the government and financial systems in America. And let's not even get started on the war machine that is perpetuated through propaganda. Ever since World War II, America literally hasn't not been in some kind of conflict, war, or combat around the world. It doesn't stop. Militaries should be used to defend your own country from either within or around your own borders, not being sent overseas to the other side of the world to help give another country freedom or democracy. Trump has been extremely vocal about these things. He wants to end wars. He wants to make the food system healthy again, audit the government, audit universities. And the fact that in 1972 there was an ancient prophecy about a man in a red hat who was going to come and purify the land, like, it is just crazy. And then it starts to get even crazier, because he talks about the people who wear this symbol. They're going to be extremely smart. They're going to have highly advanced technology, and they're going to use it for the wrong reasons. They're going to try and shake up the world, nearly destroy it. I think we all know exactly who that sounds like. And after almost destroying themselves, a new generation will rise up and use the technology, this time for good, and to help purify the world. Now look, you're probably thinking, there's no Nazis anymore. Who's going to come with this symbol? Who's going to use this for good? Well, put your tinfoil hat on, because we're about to go down the rabbit hole. In the 1930s, before World War II, the Germans went on an expedition to Antarctica, where they claimed a small chunk of the ice as New Schwabenland. Now, there's not a lot known about this part of Antarctica, or even anything about Antarctica at all, but it's alleged that the Germans during World War II were in possession of some crazy technology, some of which perhaps they didn't quite know how to use. That's right. Alien technology. One of the most popular cases of highly advanced German wonder weapons was known as Die Glocke, a bell-shaped craft that some say had the ability to manipulate space and time. After the war, we were told that Hitler died in his bunker, and maybe that's the case. But there are a lot of people who claim that the Nazis fled Germany, down through Argentina, and potentially to Antarctica as well. Now again, a lot of this stuff is unverified, but there are a lot of people, especially in Argentina, that will claim this to be true. And there's an oddly large number of German communities in Argentina, a place very far from Germany that doesn't speak German. Now I know that sounds kind of wild, Germans hiding alien tech in Antarctica before World War II, Hitler escaping to Argentina, and maybe it is. But what gives this story a lot more credibility is actually not the Germans, but the Americans. After World War II, the US military went on what they claimed was a scientific expedition to Antarctica named Operation High Jump. Now this must have been some kind of scientific expedition, because there was thousands of troops that went. I don't know what kind of science they were doing down there, but they needed a lot of people and a lot of firepower. Admiral Byrd, who was a Navy pilot in the US military. During Operation High Jump, he was allegedly flying through Antarctica when all of a sudden the ice began to clear. He was no longer flying through snowy and icy mountains. Everything began to look green and lush, and suddenly he was intercepted by these saucer-like craft that he didn't recognize. UFOs with swastikas on them. Now look, a lot of this stuff is unverified, but it's a crazy story, and it's a story that's been around for a long time. And when we consider this prophecy, it's something that could actually line up. People who wore the swastika nearly destroyed themselves, but a new generation was born who decided to rise up with this advanced technology and use it to help purify the land. Now I know we just got wild. I did tell you to put your tinfoil hat on. You can take that off now. But it's just crazy how in the lead up to this election, the media were calling Trump a Nazi. And there's this Hopi prophecy from 50 years ago that's saying the Nazis are going to come back and help a man in a red hat purify the land from corruption and greed and overconsumption of technology. Now, I'm not trying to say Trump is a Nazi. I think that's silly, but I'm just connecting some dots here. The stories around Antarctica and the secrecy around Operation High Jump is fascinating. And after all, we know that a lot of senior Nazis did survive because they went to America to continue their work. That was Operation Paperclip.
That is what they said will happen at this period by the people that has this symbol and man with red cap and red coat. They will come from east direction, from sun, where the sun rises, and they will come here quickly, and they will have something to paralyze all man-made machinery. Everything come to a standstill. All power will go out. All man-made machinery will come to a standstill, and we will be helpless. Then they just come and take it over. And this is what they will happen to by those people that are coming from the east direction. Now, if those people are commissioned by the Great Spirit to do that for the Great Spirit, we can't clean it ourselves here. And if they fail, then the Great Spirit said there are another people coming from west direction, they'll be coming here for a long time. They're just taking this time slowly. They're coming and building up more power, more people, more invention, and all that, and they just kept coming. If these people doesn't come here to purify this for the Great Spirit, then this one will come. And they said, when that happens, don't get them on the housetop and watch, because those people are coming from the west direction. There'll be millions of people coming up on the west coast, like ants crawling up on the land. And they will have no mercy for anyone. They'll be very cruel and severe. They're not going to ask questions. They're just going to whip everything as they come. They're going looking for someone that will hold on to the spiritual path here. They're going to do that. This is what they said is going to happen. But there's two purifiers on both sides are coming to this continent here where we started from, and we came back. We just about to destroy ourselves, mess it up. We can't straighten ourselves up. Then these purifiers will have to do it. This is what they said will happen here. So whoever comes out, then we will meet the Great Spirit. But if not, if no one listens, then these elders, religious men, will go down into the kiva, go through a ceremony. Then they go over a prayer to four corners of this earth, to the above and to the below, and said, all right, none of these, my children, my people have listened to me or helped me. Now you take over. That's when the cloud will rise like this. Lightning will strike 2 or 3 times all over this land. Like the old people said, if you have light power line in your house now, that power is going to run in and just blow up everything in there. And everything is going to happen when that lightning strikes. And so that's why some of these traditional people don't want power line into their village yet. They don't want to put it in their home. And then they also don't want running water inside of the house, because that's going to be so polluted one of these days. And that's going to be affected in some way when white man or whoever has the power, like the goat full of ashes, which you now interpret to be hydrogen bomb or atom bomb or whatever bomb they have now invented, so powerful that once that hit someplace, it's going to pollute everything. So these are the things that are explained clearly, and I can't really go into all that detail, but it brings up to date what we're facing today. I've seen many things happening along this line now that it's being fulfilled. So they told us, go as far as you can to explain some of these to as many people, because there is still a faith by our elders that someday our white brother somewhere or somebody's going to realize it, or hear it and understand it, and they're going to search and they're going to find out this is true. They're going to start going around to try and correct this before purifiers come. So that is why whatever happening in our area, we don't want industries in there yet, because once that happens, those that's going to throw those gourd full of ashes into this continent, it might hit all around us, but it's going to hit those places where are developing those kind of things.
When the man in the red hat and the people from the east come, it's going to happen fast. We'll wake up one morning and the sky will be dark, and millions of people will come raining down. It will be quick and we'll be helpless. All machines will be useless. Electronics will be paralyzed. Sounds just like what happened in 1967 at Malmstrom Air Force Base. But if for some reason that these people fail to purify the land, then a new set of purifiers will be forced to come, this time from the west, and millions of them will crawl up onto the land like ants. Now look, I don't mean to keep pulling this back into ufology, but it was only a couple of months ago when Danny Sheehan, who is informed by a lot of high-level military personnel, said that there is an underwater base under Guadalupe Island, which is off the west coast. A little bit further up the coast is where the Nimitz incident happened with the Tic Tac. Not only that, Catalina Island, which is not too far away, has been a UFO hotspot for years. And let's not forget the Battle of Los Angeles. Probably one of the most understated and least spoken about UFO cases in history. And I mean, what else is directly west of America? Nothing. Just a whole lot of water. And what's under the water? We don't know, because we've never explored it. Or maybe they have, and they found something that I want to tell you about. I know this topic can be pretty heavy or even scary for some people, but I don't think that's a reason to not talk about it. I'm certainly not making this video with the intention to scare people or spread fear, but I think it's something that we need to be aware of. Just because something is scary doesn't mean you just run away from it. Since this video was made, our technological advancements have gone through the roof, and traditional values, religion, all of these kind of things have only gotten smaller and decayed further in society. And the Hopi aren't the only people to speak of a cataclysm either. Christianity talks of a judgment day, Hinduism speaks of the yuga cycles, and the end of each cycle being marked by a cataclysm. Something that just completely wipes the slate clean, the beginning of a new era, a new dawn of man. The stories of Atlantis, a golden city, highly advanced technology that was washed away in a flood. There are parallels here. It almost sounds like the place we were meant to be, but somewhere we took a wrong turn. Graham Hancock talks about the Younger Dryas impact theory. 12,500 years ago, the Earth was rained down upon by a bunch of asteroids that led to a global flood. These stories are reoccurring, they're everywhere, and we have evidence of these lost civilizations, pyramids and structures that we don't even have the technology to build today. Enormous slabs of hard stone weighing hundreds, sometimes even thousands of tons that have been cut with precision. How did all of this happen? How do we not know about it? It really feels like something happened that wiped out humanity, and here we are having another go at it, and we've got it wrong again. Or you could even argue we did worse than last time, because we don't even know how the pyramids were built. Now look, I know this can be scary, I know it can be a lot, but the only reason I'm making this video is because I think it's never too late to change. I think we're all much more powerful than we realize, but we're just too distracted and too busy with things that don't matter. And if this video only reaches a small handful of people, but it helps them maybe reconsider how they're acting or how they're treating each other in the earth, then I think that's a good thing. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Maybe you interpreted some of it a little bit differently to how I did. Now I'm gonna leave you with a few clips from military personnel or people who claim to be in the know that support this story, that something is coming. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. It was a little bit different, a little bit artsy. Be kind to each other, support your mates, check in on your mum and dad, and I'll see you next time.
Imagine everything you've been taught about who we are, right? And our background and our past. What if all of that turned out to be not entirely accurate? Hypothetically, imagine a scenario where maybe we had 50 years to prepare for something, but now that the cat's out of the bag, that existential action will happen tomorrow. And by the way, we're not ready for it. We're not prepared for it.
Being in a reactive mode is never preferable to being in a proactive mode.
The people who are calling the shots in the world, you can call them the Illuminati, the controllers, the cabal, whatever name you have for them, they believe that there is going to be what he called a geophysical event.
The time has come, we need to start having the conversation collectively.
The meaning, what it means to be a human being and our place in this universe. What if it turns out that a lot of the things that we thought were one way aren't? Are we prepared to have that honest question with ourselves?
That there are repeated cyclical geophysical events about every 11,500 years. And this might be the justification for this insanity.
The mere fact that you are acknowledging the existence of something may predicate an action or an act that you're not prepared to have right now. Maybe that's the reason why you decided to only brief certain presidents who have a background in intelligence. Maybe they were former directors of CIA, but the other presidents who are career politicians will be, they're here today, gone in 4 years. Maybe you can't even risk telling them. Mankind's been around for a while. For most of that time, mankind's been around. We've been smack in the middle of the food chain. About 70,000 years ago, something fundamentally changed. Our species was instantly catapulted to the very top. And now all of a sudden, we became the most feared. We were the most lethal. Most of the large species that existed on this planet went extinct because of us.
If there's going to be a major geophysical event, the thing that will help the human race to survive it, or will help parts of the human race to survive it, is if there is already emergency preparedness in place before it happens.
What if it turns out that there's another species that is even higher on that ladder than we are?
The nature of reality is fundamentally not government information. People have a right to know the world in which we live, and the pursuit of happiness requires that knowledge.
We should have had it a while ago, but we really need to start having a conversation.
Do we need the social institutions? Will we need governmental and religious organizations if it turns out that there is something else or someone else that is technologically more advanced and perhaps from an evolutionary perspective more advanced. Maybe we're just another exhibit inside the zoo. Just because I have cancer, it's bad news. Don't keep that from me. I want to know, because maybe there's a chance I can do something about it. There's going to come a point in this conversation where we're going to have to do a lot of reconciling with ourselves.
Time is not a luxury that we can afford.